Hey guys, this is KWK here, playing Home Alone for Sega Genesis. Nice, good holiday fun. We're going to try it out today and see how far we can get. We'll start with probably the beginner round. It's been a while since I played this one, so I feel that the beginner round is a good way to warm up for this game. Good old classic Home Alone, right in front of the McAllister house. Want to go to the old snowmen first because getting them can really fill up on a lot of useful items, mainly ammo, but I have ran across some pretty interesting items even under snowmen. But since we're starting out in beginner mode, we got ourselves some real good advantage, plenty of time to kind of get ready before the wet bandits start attacking, usually the McAllister house, I believe. And beginner mode, they start with the McAllister house almost every time, I believe. So we got all this time, we might as well fuel up and hit these snowmen, race around, use up some of the charge. Let's go down to the old blueprints here for some traps. We got some torches, we can only put those indoors. Some good old-fashioned ice, which I believe you can be used multiple times, not just once, like these toys here. Toys can be used only once, I believe, on a bad guy, and then they go away. Marbles, they last a little bit longer than toys and do have the same effect. All these different items and traps are pretty useful, but in beginner round we don't have as many to choose from. So now that I'm in the McAllister home, I'm going to catch up on a few items. Balloons are pretty useful. Usually use them for pepper and glue guns. Rubber bands, definitely useful. I'm just going to pretty much comb through and try to get all the items in the house that I can. Let's see here. We got, alright, some BBs. That's always a good faithful gun to have on you. More balloons. That'll come in handy. Oh, missed that ice, luckily. Another trick I like to do is jumping towards the stairs. It kind of speeds it up. I've noticed in this game that jumping is a lot better for gaining more speed. Can't reach that one, use a trusty old tire here. There we go. You can do a lot of stuff with tires in this game. Comes in pretty handy, which I think is pretty funny and far-fetched how it works. Now we got a good crossbow. That's pretty much the best you can work with when making a good gun here. Let's see what we can make. Alright, let's see here. Good old pepper rifle. I think this will be a snowball bazooka, yep. And this is a good start. Yeah, I really gotta say, I really love this Home Alone game. I feel that it's the best Home Alone game out there. I've played a lot of different Home Alone games on Game Boy, on Super Nintendo, on original NES. But this wasn't the very first Home Alone game I played. The very first Home Alone game I ever played was pretty much the NES Home Alone. And that Home Alone game is nothing like this one. The only similarity I see is in this beginner mode, you got 20 minutes until the cops come, and that's about the only similarity you're going to see, for the most part, from this one to the NES Home Alone. This definitely, in every way, beats the NES Home Alone and all the others. Between being able to make different types of weapons, the good game control, not having a game over immediately once the crooks get a hold of you is a nice plus. Barely got through that one. I mean, this is just the best way you can execute a Home Alone game, even though I will say it's a little bit of a stretch from the movie, because in the movie I don't recall him protecting all the homes in the neighborhood. It was just his own in the movie, but even though it's not 100% accurate to the movie, which surprisingly I can say the original Nintendo version was much more accurate in that perspective, that it's more like the movie, you're just guarding your entire home the entire time. But I think for this game, if you're just protecting your own home all day, they'd either have to make this house extremely large to compensate for that, or they'd have to probably, I don't know how they can really pull it off. This just works well, having to go house to house It's not going to be so monotonous and boring being in one building all the time. All buildings have a different pro and con to them. The McAllister home is pretty well balanced. It's a good home to defend and work in. You got about 3 good long levels to run across. It's a nice good rectangle shape. It usually has a good stack of items in it. I mean, other houses on this are a lot more difficult, in my opinion, to work with than this house. A house that comes to mind is there's like a house that's like falling apart for some reason. And that house is one of the hardest because it's a very small house and it's very tight quarters and congested. And it's hard to not keep on getting captured and slowing you down. But as you can see here, I like to try to balance out the loot and the pain to kind of eat up the timer. And I know that's not the best way to play this game. This was just unfortunately the way that I played the game because I was so familiar with the original Nintendo version that the original Nintendo version basically was all about just running out the clock until the cops showed up. So me playing that a lot more before I ever played this game, I had the habit of doing that in this game also. And this game's a little bit different that, yeah, you definitely want to run out the clock, but in the same token, you don't want them to be able to loot the entire house. And you don't want them to be able to, I mean, have too much loot for each house, and then I think the wet bandits like flood out the house basically. I mean, your best bet is to kind of actually give them more pain than loot, and that gives you a better score because the more pain you give them, the more you're kicking them out. So right here you can see that I'm just burning some time here. I know that they can loot the house and a whole bunch of other areas, but they still have to come to this last spot because it's got that metal circle on the wall, which I believe is representing a safe of some sort, possibly. Like they're looting each safe, and I didn't know that these houses have so many safes all over them, but it goes with the theme of the game, so I can understand how they got set up that way. But me, I usually just ran out the clock so that I could beat the game. But now that I found out over the years that it's detrimental to your score to do this, you're just going to beat the game, but you're not going to have the best score. Because if you want a higher score, you want to get them as much pain as possible, and then kick them out of the house. Because each time you give them enough pain in the house, we'll just say the house level or this ends, and then they'll go to another house. And each time that you give them enough pain and kick them out of the house, you have the advantage of getting points and bonuses, and that'll rack up in your score. So the score does affect the ending. The ending pretty much is the same from what I can tell between beginner and expert. The only main differences I can tell is that there's a helicopter and maybe more cop cars in expert when you beat it. But in beginner, it shows them still going the cop car, and then the end of the game kind of mocks you and says, yeah, that was too easy, go and play on expert mode. Like most games of that time era did, they all just mocked you if you ever beat them on easy or normal. They always said you had to beat it on hard mode. I mean, nowadays I kind of just get in the habit of playing games straight on hard mode so I can actually see the real ending. But I don't want to get too far off topic with that. I can go on and on about games that do that. Bubble Bobble just comes to mind when I think about those kind of games. Never the good ending. I just love how you got to do things like that. But anyway, as I said, I'm just trying to kill the clock. It's beginner mode. I'm just kind of getting back to the groove of things. Normally you'd want to give them as much pain as possible. It'll rack up on the house. After that you could go to a next house and then try to give them as much pain as possible. And pretty much just keep filling up that pain meter as many times as you can, but you got to find a good balance. And you'll run out of ammo at times, and you'll run into trouble if you're out of ammo and you can't do anything, because then they'll completely loot the house, and after they completely loot a house, you can't get a house back. As you can see in the top left hand corner, you have 5 houses you have to protect, and it'll keep track if you lose one. If you lose one at all, then you're definitely not going to get a good ending at all. You have to keep all the houses and have as high of a score as possible for the ultimate ending. Now, I've read online different titles that you get at the end, and I've heard there's titles like Home Alone Champion, or like Expert crook catcher and stuff like that. I normally get like, I think in beginner mode I'll normally get alert citizen for my score, and usually in expert mode I usually get like neighborhood watchdog. I haven't seen any other types of titles offhand. I'll probably maybe play this a few more times and see what kind of scores I can get, but beginner mode I'm just going to play once, and this is what you guys get to see. This is pretty much what you can expect from beginner mode. I mean, I know my method isn't the best, but it still definitely gets the job done, to say the least here. I just like balancing out, give them a whole bunch of pain, wait till that meter is right there, so I just got to hit them about one more time, and I just kind of run the clock out. I mean, it's still fun, it gives you results, and it works out pretty well. I mean, this game is pretty incredible considering all the stuff that goes on. I mean, it's pretty comical when you think about a kid running around from house to house with a sled. I really don't fully understand how he drives a sled everywhere, but as you can see, we wrapped up this house here. They're knocked out. Another cool thing I liked about the game was, depending on what weapon you used last, he has some type of comment at the end. He says drop by again anytime. When I beat him with the BB gun last in this one. But now we need some more ammo, so we're going to go around and hit all the old snowmen fast. This is kind of making my rounds here. I refill up everything as fast as I can before they start looting another house. But I do say that this house, this ultra modern house, it's best to invest in tar all over this house, because it comes with a security system of robots that keep zapping the bad guys. And the bad guys' robot system works out pretty well. It gives them a lot of pain. So I just use tar pretty much all over this house. It's a big advantage. Another thing about this house is this house usually has good stuff in it, like electronics and a lot of useful items throughout the game to build weapons, I've noticed. This one seems to have a lot of good items, just like Kevin's house has in this game. As you can see, I can fill up and stock on stuff quick here. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. And we got this pepper right here. Definitely need that. It's an awesome gun. I mean, the variety of guns are just hilarious in this game, the stuff that they got. I mean, and the way he makes these guns, when you start building them, you'd think he's related to MacGyver, the stuff that he can make with the materials he's got. It's just kind of crazy and far-fetched, but that's what makes this game funny and unique, you know what I mean? It's a very fun, quick, easy play game. I usually try to make it a point once a year to play and beat it through, usually around, you know, Christmas time. Kind of fits the theme, one of those traditional fun, easy games to play. Maybe one day I'll beat my all-time score. I gotta start working on that. But right here is the old colonial house, I believe, and this house has kind of got an advantage being a haunted house. It's got a lot of levels, so these 4 levels, there's a lot of stairs in this one. But since this house is haunted, everybody can get zapped by some ghosts that I shoot lightning. It's pretty interesting. Don't remember this house in the game, but I really like how they went out of the way of making each house their own kind of theme with disadvantages and advantages, and they're all really unique. They got a feel to them, they got a look to them. I mean, it's just a very well drawn out game. The graphics are good, the controls are good. I mean, there's not much I can really say that's bad about this game. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying compared to all the other Home Alone games that are out there, this one just puts them all to shame, hands down. If anything, they should have copied this style when they made all the other games, but it's still nice that the Sega Genesis had a nice, unique one. And also, they made this game for the Sega Game Gear, I believe. Yeah, they made a watered-down version of this. I don't know the differences offhand between this one and the Game Gear, but it doesn't exist. Oh man, yeah, this house is my least favorite to be fighting in. It's just frustrating, to say the least. Every time you're walking around, you'll fall through the floor. It's got a lot of items that you need a tire to get to. It does have, whoop, these guys are already here. Well, they got me. That's the one thing. I remember when I first played this after playing Nintendo so much, and they got me, and I was so confused at this point. I'm like, hey, what do I do here? Because in Nintendo, once they grab you, the game is over and it resets. And this one, no, it's just a hassle. Good. There's all the hot coal rifle, and probably a pepper bazooka. Yep. And what else we're going to be making here? One of those rubber launchers, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, no, that's some good stuff right there. But no, up the stairs you definitely need at least 2 tires. This guy is in the way. Oops. I accidentally hit the wrong button on that one. Alright, well, it's nothing we can't recover from quickly. But yeah, right here we're going to use our tires. And this is, I mean, kind of a secret, if you will. You need another tire here, and we can get all the way up, and there's more items up in this attic here. There we go, good stuff is up here. Yeah, they got a lot of items up here. It's really good to stock up here. Alright, we're going to go back down. Take a look at what else. Nobody's finished looting all these up here yet. Let's see what he's doing. But I haven't inflicted enough pain yet. Let's start beating up on these guys a little bit here. Yeah, the pepper gun's pretty funny. It's effective. It's not the strongest though. Ah, man, he got me. No matter, we'll get back here. I got him nailed. What else we got here? Alright, now we can make the glue rifle. This one's one of my personal favorites, the glue rifle. It's kind of funny. And it's just crazy that much glue gets all over them when you just have one little thing of Elmer's that looks like you're working with. And everything I noticed, the graphic of the guys look the same no matter who you hit with that. But over here is a nice glitch or cheat, however you want to look at it, in this bathtub in this level. You can actually get the guys trapped in it. I think I only got one of them trapped in there. Let's take a look. Yeah, we just got Harry trapped in there, that's all. But if you time it just right, you can actually get both the guys trapped in there if you wanted. I mean, you can get them out if you really wanted and you accidentally got them trapped. You can just shoot them, and then normally they can get out after you shoot them. But it's a nice glitch. I mean, if you just want to run out the clock, or you run out of items, or you're running low and you just happen to be in this house, it's good to know you can use this to your advantage if you needed to at one point in time. But for me, since I'm in beginner mode, I'm just trying to run out the clock. As far as this game goes, beginner mode is exactly what it is. It's a great way to just kind of warm up, get used to the mechanics of the game. It does help you get an idea of how to make guns in this game and what they use as bases, and you get a feel for it. It is a little annoying how it constantly always wants to make you a gun, even though you already have a gun that shoots the same type of ammo, so you need to know better not to do that. Like, you wouldn't want a glue rifle and a glue bazooka. You just want to have a glue rifle and then keep all your glue for the rifle, because the rifle is the best way you can shoot anything by trajectory. I think rifle's the best because it goes across the screen the farthest. Then bazooka's the second best, if that's all you can make. I believe you need a hairdryer for that. And then you have like launchers you can make. And the launchers, I don't have very good luck with them. They're kind of tricky. They don't shoot straight. They kind of shoot it with an arch, kind of like in Friday the 13th throwing a rock for NES. It just doesn't work that well for me. I kind of save those for last if I'm running low on anything else to shoot. Then I'll start breaking those out. But those I've missed them so many times it gets frustrating. I just like sticking to the bazookas and the rifles. They're much more handy in my opinion. But either way, this is definitely a great entertaining game. In expert mode, it feels a lot more is to it, even though there really isn't. It just feels that way to me in my opinion, because they do add some awesome guns that you can create in expert mode. The ones I can think of offhand are the flash bulb gun. That one's my favorite. You can get a camera and flash bulbs and I believe wire, and then you can make a gun that'll blind them. And another really good gun that you get in expert mode is like a sound wave gun that really just pierces their ears and their hearing. And it's pretty cool how that works out. It is really cool how that stuff works out. The other gun that I can think of is they have like a rope rifle, and that one's kind of neat too. It kind of makes them look like a mummy when you shoot them, but you'll see that one once we get to the expert levels here. We're still in beginner mode. Once we get this all wrapped up, I'm going to have video follow directly after this one in expert mode, and we'll see how far I can get with that. Other than that, in this game, it's just a whole lot of good balance of having the right amount of ammo, having the right kind of weapons that work for you, and balancing out with traps and time, so then you don't get to a point where you run out of ammo when you're trying to fight these guys, because that's the worst thing that can happen, is that you run out of ammo. Because if you run out of ammo fighting these guys, you risk losing the house, and if you lose the house, you might, in my opinion, you might as well reset the game. I mean, you can play this game to the end if you want. Even if you lose some houses, you're just not gonna, you're guaranteed not to get a very good ranking. It's a penalty to lose a house, so I'm not really racking up the big points. As you can see in this one, I'm just killing time, kind of screwing around. And in the same token, it's kind of disappointing that I'm doing this in beginner mode, because, I mean, we're almost done. And we're in what, a second house? You've only seen Kevin's house and then this house. I mean, that's all we've seen so far. There we go. And then, as I said before, I'll be seeing you guys around. How clever is that? And I don't even understand how this gun works. I mean, are these guys supposed to just be in a big rubber ball? They kind of look like Christmas ornaments. I don't know. Well, fill up our ammo, even though there's about 3 minutes left here. We can easily run the clock out. You can also follow their van if you want. Their van usually goes off screen to a point you can't see, so then you can't easily predict what the next house is. Sometimes they go straight to another house, sometimes they don't. I mean, it's pretty well random in this game. Another thing I like to do is mess around with these fire hydrants. You can break those for extra points if you like. You gotta really get a good distance between yourself and the charge. And if you get a good distance between yourself and the charge, then you can just nail it like this. Bam! Right there, you gained an extra 50 points. I don't know why vandalizing the town fire hydrants is permitted as extra points, but that's what they did in this game, which is just a nice little perk here. It's kind of funny and interesting. And whenever you go up to a door of a house, it's going to ask you if you want to enter or not. I mean, I got plenty of charge. In expert mode, you got to keep an eye on your charge meter, because the crooks move way faster than they do in beginner mode. The van actually drives a lot faster too, and you got to make sure you got enough charge to race somewhere if you're collecting items, and then the loot meter pops up. Because once that loot meter pops up on the screen, then that means they're at a house. And if you're in the right house and they pop in, it'll pop up loot meter and show the pain meter. But if you're out of here or in a wrong house, it'll only show the loot meter, letting you know that they're already working on a house that they're looting that you have to race to. I just saw the corner of my eye their van, so they're probably getting into some house right now. Yep, there's my loot meter, so I gotta shake and move. Well, they're not in this house. Let's charge around. And they're in the old ultra-modern house. Let the good times roll. Yeah, this house is pretty cool. I want to meet the guy who designed this house. I mean, I'm guessing that's a big TV set and stereo system. I mean, this thing looks like a spaceship. I mean, what kind of technology did they have at this point in time? This game was made in 1992. Did houses really look like this? Alright. Good old glue rifle, nice and reliable. Only got about a minute left here, not much more time to wrap up here. There we go. Good deal. Got it. Got it. Oh, well, we can jump over a Mario style. Nice. Got him. Well, since there's not much left, and this house, for how modern it is, it only has one bathroom, which I think is pretty funny for it being modern. Yeah, I like how Kevin can stand on the toilet and stare at me. That's quite an interesting photo you can have in a video game. Oh, uh-oh. Yeah, this is gonna get me. It's gonna get me. Ooh, just dodged him. Nice. Oh. Uh-oh. Gotta get away from this guy. Nice. If you're in the elevator zone, you're safe. Alright, we're almost there. Time is wrapping up. Let's see what kind of score we're going to have in title here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Got our house bonus. Got our neighborhood bonus. Getting them wet bandits. Teach them a lesson. Yep, got alert citizen. Yep, and good old expert mode just sticks it to you, which we'll definitely go to that one next. But pretty much, this is it for me and my commentary. Definitely stay tuned for the expert mode. It's going to play right after this ending here. And enjoy the video.